Just
Oh
a new
yeah.
one. It's nothing to do with anything particular except for it's got the gay pride colors on it and stuff.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to be. It was released to celebrate Gay Pride Month or whatever they call that. I don't know what they call that, but
Yeah.
so it's got all the inclusive colors on it or whatever. I don't know what they all are. Even up on the
Okay.
logo, kind of like what
Yeah.
your logo is, but it's actually a rainbow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, not saying that I promote any of that. I just it's probably a collectible at some point.
Collector's item.
So,
Yeah. Disclaimer. Disclaimer. Disclaimer.
exactly. Here we go. What? Oh, I don't have that as a separate button. We'll just do this one instead. Yay. All right. Well, let me push the intro and we'll get started.
All right.
And apparently he's not going to show. What time is it now already? 41. So he's 10, 11 minutes late. Of course, he did come in about that time last time. But we'll
Yeah.
see.
It's definitely graphic.
We'll see. Welcome to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https:// RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR dot down there KAILEJOHANSEN dot US. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KAILEJOHANSEN.US. And now, it's time to talk Star Wars. Star Wars. I am Kyle John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello. And now we've got Rick too. Yay. Yeah. I've got to figure out a way to record that so it all blends in so I can add that. Add your name too.
Just stop it, record it, drop it in, and call it good.
Well, see, if I did that, then all that music and stuff in the background, it would be blank. So it would say, "And here's Rick," and just by itself, and then it would continue on with music. So it would be a little bit funny, but it would be kind of awkward. It'd
Yeah,
be like,
but
"What? What? It's all what? Oh, um,
hey, we're a nickel and dime show here, so we
yeah,
we don't have to buy fancy
we're
podcast.
not making lots of money, right? Um, yeah, if we were, I'd be doing a little bit more stuff.
If
So
you can just pull the tape out, cut it, splice it with tape, and put it back, roll it back in.
no, that won't work. It's all digital, man. We don't do that. So yeah, I can pull it out and cut it and splice it, but it's all digital. Uh, all right. So today we're reviewing Star Wars Ahsoka Part 7, the penultimate episode called Dreams and Madness. Dreams and Madness. So first we're gonna uh well, I do have a tiny bit of news, but I don't have an article related to it. I'm just gonna talk about it for a second. And then we're gonna go through all the casts and everything, and do a full review of the entire episode. And I've got some feedback, like I said, and we'll discuss everything after that. So let's. I'm gonna do the news thing, but it's the news short. So I saw an article that was confirmed by, or that was they were interviewing Dave Filoni, and he has agreed to do a three-part movie, a three-part set of movies around the timeline of Ahsoka and everything. also. So I don't know if that's going to be that movie that's supposed to come out in 2024 is going to be one of those. I don't know that for sure. He didn't say specifically, but it's probably, I don't know. It probably include Thrawn too. I don't know for sure, but I think that's part of what we're going to see at the last episode tomorrow next week is I think we're going to see the start of Thrawn, having his way with the galaxy that we're used to, because he's supposed to be what brings in the new order, the yeah, second order, third order, whatever they call it, first order. Yeah, that's it. So that's really what my news was. It was just a short thing. Like I said, I don't have the article anymore because I couldn't find it, but I think that's pretty exciting that we're getting possibly more movies.
Another
He did
trilogy.
say trilogy, and he did say movies, so it's not a series. Um, and I also saw that once the season the trilogy is already written. That's what he said. Dave Filoni's already written it, and the same with season 2 Ahsoka. It's already written.
Sweet.
Now season 2, that doesn't mean they're going to skip it or not, but it's supposed to be, because of writer's strike. Even though it's already written, it doesn't mean that it's going to get done in time or anything. Like, um, usually they go every other year on these things. The way it works, like kind of like the Bad Batch. We're going to get another Bad Batch next year, but they may skip a year.
Yeah.
They've
Well,
done
with the
they've done
writers.
that before. They've done that before. So anyway, that's the brief news. Spoiler alert here. The news. Yeah, so that's what you were looking for, wasn't it? That means that we're going to be talking about the episode, and if you haven't watched it, you're going to be spoiled. We don't want to spoil you, so go back and watch it.
The encouraging part about the writer strike is the writers haven't made any money, so they might be a little more motivated to put some stuff out a little quicker than they might have
Yeah.
anticipated. So
Well, I mean, the interesting part about the Filoni stuff is, like I said, he's already written most of the stuff he's announced. I think even they were talking about the movie that he was going to produce in 2024 or 26 or whatever the date was. He said he had already written that one too. They were just waiting for, to get into the queue,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
production queue. So, um, that's a good thing too. But stuff like Andor and Mandalorian, those are, could be delayed. I don't know. I
yeah.
think the Mandalorian's written. They're just waiting for people to come back so they can start production too. But
Yep.
um,
Well, they might do more than one to kind of get caught back up in the rotation too. So
yeah,
who knows?
that'd be nice.
But it's
That'd be nice. I'm getting tired of, like, usually in the summer there's a long break. There's like a 2 or 3 month break. I'm getting tired of that break. Let's fill
yeah,
it in with something.
yeah. I would say that might be what they do is kind of fill it in to get their at least get back to the rotation that they would like to do, but
Yeah,
until they get caught up.
exactly. So this episode's director was Geeta Van Sant Patel. Geeta Van Sant Patel. The writer, of course, was Dave Filoni. Edited by Rosanna Tan, and the score was by Kevin Kinner. And the cast, we go on with Ahsoka, which is Rosario Dawson, Sabine Wren, Natasha Liu Bordizzo, Balin Skoll, which I got lots of questions about him. Ray Stevenson, Shin Hati, is Ivanna Sakhino. Morgan Elisabeth is Diana Lee Inosanto. Professor Huyang is David Tennant. Then we've got the mother sisters, whatever you want to call them, the mother witches. One of them is called Atropa, played by Gerald Prescott Galen. Clotho, played by Claudia Black. And Lake Assis, played by Jane Edwina Seymour. And then, of course, we've got Admiral Thrawn, played by Lars Mikkelsen. Captain Inyak, West Chapman. Ezra Bridger, Iman Estefandi. Mon Mothma is in here. We've got, which is Genevieve O'Reilly. Senator Zenoi, I don't know, Nelson Lee. Senator Maywood, which is one of those two that was sitting beside on the other side of her. I can't remember which one it was. Played by Maurice Irving. Because it could be the fish one, so I don't know if it's the fish one or it was the actual. There was a black guy next to her too.
Yeah.
Then we saw Captain Carson Vega, played by Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. And then we saw C3PO, surprise C3PO, played by Anthony Daniels himself. And he was upset about this scene because they made him try out for it like a regular actor. He didn't actually, they didn't say, hey, come in, we need you to do C3PO. They made him try out. So
Really?
he was upset about that. And then of course we saw Anakin Skywalker in a home video.
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen was Anakin. So because
So the
we've
big
got
do
yeah,
we
so
see Leia in the next episode?
I don't know.
Because
I don't think they've done very good with the digital representations of her as of late.
yeah,
They try a little too hard to make her look really young and stuff, and I don't think it's.
but
I
we
think people
have
have complained.
but we have a young digital of her, from the Empire Strikes Back. So you just dub different vocals in. It was cool that she got name dropped though.
Yeah, she did. So because we've got a bunch of dirty Thrawn stormtroopers, we're gonna play some Arons for our commercial.
You over there. Are you a trooper? Is your armor always dirty? When do you find time to clean it? Did Rebel Scum scratch and damage it? Does your helmet communications keep acting up? Stop by Aaron's Armor Sparkalorium before 1500 hours. We will
Hello?
wash, clean, and sanitize your armor for the
What'd you
next
say?
day pickup.
Hello.
Our patented galactically ancient secret cleaning techniques
Mm.
will have your armor sparkling just like a new Cerealian Y1300 freighter just off the assembly line.
Brand
You'll be
new.
the envy of all your friends and coworkers, from the castles on Lothal to the politicians on Coruscant to the environmentalists on Endor.
Oh, the environmentalists.
For your next day service, stop by Aaron's Armor Sparkalorium. We are
White,
located
right?
in Tatooine's Mos Eisley Spaceport, directly across from Hangar 35. We will also repair and sell most parts at the best rates in the known galaxy. All services guaranteed and licensed by the Emperor himself to last a lifetime.
Lifetime.
Only at Iran's Armor Sparkalorium. We accept Imperial credits only. All boots or services are extra.
So they're guaranteed to last a lifetime by the Emperor, but if the Emperor thinks it's gone on too long, he's going to kill you. So there's your lifetime. So
We got to recycle.
I was going to remind you the Senator Zenoi or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Remember that other animated show that we don't like, the Resistance or whatever it's a weird one. Resistance, I think. Yeah, I think it's called the Resistance.
Yeah.
The main character in there is the son of that senator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's really nasty in the show too. He doesn't think his son is going to be a Jedi or any whatever.
Huh.
Like I said, you and I have not really watched that show because it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
anyway,
Or
that's a tie-in. That make it interesting, but All right. So again, we're doing Ahsoka. It's called Part 7, Dreams and Madness. Originally aired September 26th, 46 minutes long. And it's the same timeline, 9 before the Battle of Yavin, which I thought was interesting too, because they talked about the timeline a little bit in here too. Ahsoka and Ezra kind of, or not Ahsoka, Sabine and Ezra kind of went over that the Death Star was exploded at the Battle of Endor and this and that and stuff. So, what that means is it's time to grab your favorite beverage and pull up a chair, because we're gonna talk Star Wars in the Rebel Alliance briefing room. Yay! Applause. There we go.
Yeah, this is a really good job of tying a lot of things together, I thought.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so let's start from the beginning of the episode. We're at the hearing on Coruscant. You get a little scene with all the buildings and stuff, so we know where we're at. General Hera Syndulla stands in the middle of the courtroom, and Chancellor Mon Mothma, Senator Hamatu Zenoy, Chopper, Captain Carson Teva, and other senators and military personnel are there. Zeno says that they cannot simply allow a New Republic Defense Force general to go around acting as if they're still a rebellion, because that looks bad, you know. Public doesn't like that. They're all going to get scared. Ah! Oh. He emphasizes that the New Republic is a government with rules and laws, which Syndulla has no problem bending to fit her personal agenda. I'd like to argue that most of the management should kind of do that a little bit. That's how they got up there in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Syndulla responds that she was defending the people of the New Republic in the best way that she knows how. When Zenoy reiterates that she disobeyed direct orders, she responds that she protected the New Republic by disobeying him only.
Only him.
Only him, because he's the one that gave the order. The causes murmuring among the senators and officials. So they're all kind of like a like a TV show. Ooh, she got him. Mothma asks Zenoy if they can agree that there was an incident on Sietos, and Zenoy dismisses Syndulla's report as a fairy tale, expressing disbelief in notions of Jedi, false Jedi, star maps, pergola, distant galaxies. What? Who says those exist? It's not like the telescope shows us, but who says they exist? It's just a little piece of lint on the lens. That's what it is. It's not a galaxy.
Figment of her imagination.
Yeah, I'm making it up. When Syndulla explains that Morgan Elisabeth was leading a coordinated effort by the Imperial Remnant, Zenoy denies that there's any coordination between the scattered Imperial forces and proclaimed that the Imperial Remnant does not even exist. Wonder if we're ever going to find out if he's part of the Imperial Remnant, but I don't know.
Clue or first thought too, not clue, but like, yeah. So he's denying it because he's involved in it.
Either that or he's that naive. He
Yeah,
could be that.
I think he's involved in it.
Could be that naive.
Broken
When
mirrors.
Teva says, "What about the recent events that happened on Mandalore?" and Zenoy dismisses the late Moff Gideon as a warlord acting on his own and denies that there is a conspiracy against the New Republic.
Tie-in number one.
Except if you believe what they said about him, then there was all kinds of people involved with him too.
Yeah.
And that's where we first heard about Thrawn too. Syndulla warns this will change if Thrawn returns and questions Zenoy's indifference. Zenoy dismisses Syndulla as a general who abuses her position for the personal gain and recommends that she be court-martialed for disobeying a direct order. While the senators argue about Hera's disobeying orders, we hear in the background, how rude. And C3PO enters on behalf of Senator Leia Organa. C3PO brings a data transcript that Senator Organa hopes will resolve the matter. Mothma motions for his staff to prepare the transcript despite Zenoi's objections. C3PO says the transcript proves that Senator Organa personally sanctioned General Syndulla's Renaissance mission. Oh my God. Renaissance mission to Sietos.
Reconnaissance.
That's it. Reconnaissance mission to Sietos, and was unaware that Senator Zenoi had voted against her mission. When Zenoi protests that the court cannot admit evidence from a mere droid, Chopper whistles, "Hey, oh, I'm gonna get you." But Teva motions for him to calm down. He says, hey, just calm down back there. Just calm down. C3PO asks the other senators to direct their concerns to Organa in her role as leader of the Defense Council. So she's in charge of all of them. Okay. Chancellor Mothma thinks that the data transcript satisfies the matter. Zenoi is reluctant but drops the proposed court-martial, and Mothma dismisses the hearing. Syndulla thanks C-3PO, which the protocol droid reciprocates, saying that, it's his programming. He's just supposed to serve and protect and stuff.
You're a droid. Nothing important.
I'm just a droid.
Nothing special about him.
Exactly. He can dismiss me if he wants to. I'm just a droid.
Little satisfaction about putting him in his place. So
yeah, that was pretty nice. Yeah. In private, Mothma tells Syndulla that she knows that Organa did not authorize her mission. Syndulla responds that Organa eventually did. Not right away, eventually. Mothma then asks how real is the threat of Thrawn's return. Syndulla tells the Chancellor that they have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Which, did she tell her that it's coming or not? She doesn't know, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
I think she did.
I think she assumes so, because they were building that whatever ring to go over there, I guess. So
she heavily inferred that Thrawn.
Exactly. Okay, so speaking of that, while traveling through intergalactic void with the Pergola Ultra, which is, I guess, the name of the big guy, Pergola Ultra. Ahsoka Tano practices her lightsaber skills aboard her T6 shuttle in the training room with a hologram of her late master Anakin Skywalker. In the recording, Skywalker warns that she will face formidable adversaries like General Grievous, Asajj Ventress, and Count Dooku. He reminds her to practice her lightsaber forms and tells her to remember that he taught her to trust her own instincts. So there's a lot of chatter around what he said there in online and stuff. He died. Because he mentioned Asajj Ventress in that thing there, and we don't really know the whereabouts of Asajj Ventress. Supposedly she's dead, but we don't know for sure. She's could be alive during this time, so they think that he mentioned it so that they can bring her in at some point in time.
That makes sense.
She was an interesting character too, though, because she was a I don't know, not an inquisitor type, but she was a mercenary, let's say, I guess, going out and killing Jedi and such. But she also turned to the other side. She ended up helping Jedi and stuff in the future too. I don't know if she ever she was one of those witches too. So I don't know if she ever really became, good, but she understood some certain causes and stuff and helped out. Um, anyway,
She has
there's
to begin with her.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people were talking about that because we haven't heard of Asajj Ventress for quite a while. She was only in the Clone Wars, and I think we did see her chasing Omega in the Bad Batch too. Um, she was protecting Omega while um Cad Bane was chasing her or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I remember that now because I remember the name, but I just couldn't place where it was coming from.
yeah, that was her. Um, and then there was another girl in there too that wasn't mentioned, and I forget her name, but um, she was actually there's a lot of rumors about her too because she was actually in uh the Jedi headquarters when Order 66 came through. She was being held as a prisoner at some point. Anyway, moving on. Hanoi watches while Tano explains that he made 20 or more such recordings. Hanoi remarks that Skywalker was thoughtful while Tano says that Skywalker was a good master. The droid tells her that the Purgle are reaching the end of their journey, citing their decrease in speed. At the cockpit, Tano resolves to find Sabine Wren. That's we're gonna find her first. That's what she says. When Hanoi points out that their star charts would be useless in another galaxy, Tano says that she came with the enemy, and if they find the enemy, they will find Sabine.
And logic.
Luckily enough, they actually came to the exact planet too, uh, which we'll find out here in a second.
What are the
Hanoi agrees with this logic plan, but fears that the Pergolo may have taken them to another galaxy or a different world and system. Tano thinks the odds are good despite Hanoi's pessimism. She kind of gives him a little ribbing and stuff there too, a little bit, kind of teasing him a little bit. Oh, I had all the time. What's wrong with you? I thought you told I thought you I told you. Said, I did tell you. Uh the two watch the Pergola exit hyperspace, and Hanoi activates the scanners, and Tano senses something is wrong. Because things are exploding outside.
It's her spidey sense.
Spidey sense. Things are exploding. Something must be wrong. As their T6 shuttle exits the pergola mouth, they discover that the pod of pergola have flown into an Imperial minefield deployed around their arrival point. Hanoi advises Tano to steer their ship towards the planet Perdia, where the minefield ends. Though Hanoi thinks the space whales will provide them cover until they get there. But the pergola respond by jumping into hyperspace. They're like, dang it, I'm tired of these things blowing me up.
Yeah. I came for a massage, and this is not what I would look for.
Exactly. Hanoi advises, okay, the respond by jumping. Tano manages to dodge the space mines. And the two sight Elisabeth's hyperspace transport ring, the Eye of Sion. When the Eye of Sion deploys several starfighters, Tano flies the ship through the debris field, the graveyard. During pursuit, one of the enemy starfighters crashes into debris, destroying the ship.
Oops.
In the tower on Perdia, Thrawn walks into the rotunda, and Captain Enoch's hologram appears in front of Thrawn. Enoch reports that a pod arrival of Pergula triggering the minefield as Thrawn has anticipated. Enoch says there's among the whales there's a T6 class Jedi shuttle. Thrawn says it seems that Tano is alive after all. And Elisabeth hands Thrawn a data pad. It has all the information from the Inquisitorial database on Tano. Thrawn reads it, and he is surprised that Tano's master is Anakin Skywalker. Dun dun dun. He says, "Oh, I'm in trouble, aren't I?"
General Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. So that's the interesting part about the inquisitorial database is the Inquisitors took the database that was at the Jedi Temple and basically started using it for their own purposes. So you remember in the Mandalorian when they're walking through that those headquarters for the Inquisitors or whatever, and they had all that stuff, things on display and whatever. So they basically were continuing to, I don't know, be a museum or a curator of some of the Jedi stuff, even though it was in a bad way. They had all the databases, but they were starting to display Jedi too that were famous Jedi.
Well, trophies.
Yeah, trophies.
Well, and
basically.
they used it to hunt down some of the Jedi that had escaped. That they could use that information to find them, home planet
Right.
and whatnot.
Exactly. Lots of stuff like that, and where they frequently went to, things like that. I'm hearing something outside. Thrawn asks whether he is sure there's only one starship, and Enoch says there's only one, and that their fighters have engaged the target and pursue it into the debris field. Thrawn tells Enoch to withdraw the starfighters and have them stand by. This Thrawn says that this will be all, and Enoch's hologram disappears. Elisabeth says, "Hey, what the hell's going on, man?" And Thrawn's like, "There's no need to waste our resources." However, Elisabeth says they will lose in the debris field without pursuit. We'll lose them in the debris field without the pursuit. Thrawn says she is right, and the Jedi are very good at hiding, for they have had practice for years. Basically, meaning Order 66 is putting them all into hiding. Thrawn tells Elisabeth they are getting to know their adversary, and Tano will be unpredictable and dangerous if she resembles her master. Thrawn says they will be one step ahead of Tano no matter which direction she takes. So they're going to follow her, and they already know where she's at. So why waste resources? Because they're very low on resources. So we switch. The mercenary starfighters give up the pursuit. Tano and Hanoi then land on a decomposing pergola ribcage, and Tano turns off the power. Hanoi wonders how the enemy anticipated their arrival, and Tano says Thrawn is behind the attack. Thrawn's a genius, basically, is what she's saying.
Yep.
Hanoi says the enemy has already found Thrawn, and Tano agrees. Hanoi says he will run scans to see if he can find Wren, which they're probably too far away, or there's too much debris or something. So we go back down to the planet. A caravan of pod-shaped homes of the Noti moves slowly across the plain. Bridger and the Noti pilot the largest one, and the Noti climbs down. And when Wren comes up to take his place, a Noti child waves at Wren. Hello. Hello. Bridger tells Wren that that he is still processing everything she has told him, and talks about the defeat of the Empire at the Battle of Endor, and asks if the Emperor died, and she says that's what people have said. We don't know. I don't know. People have said that, but there's a movie down there that might tell you what's going to happen.
No proof.
Bridger also learns about the New Republic, and that what's his name, Zeb, is training recruits. Syndulla is commanding a fleet, and Bridger says he missed everything. This sounds like fun stuff. I missed it. Wren says it has been a while, and that she was beginning to think that they would never find him. Bridger asks Wren how she found him because she never said. Wren says it's complicated. Bridger says they can talk about something else.
Focus, pocus. Hey, that was a really good thing though on that too, because everybody's been wondering where Zeb's been. So I think that was a kind of a genius move about putting that in there, saying he's training. So
Well, we saw Zeb. Um,
at the
oh
end of the
my, no, it was in. It was in. Was it in the Mandalorian or was it that in the Obi-Wan Kenobi thing? No, it was the Mandalorian because that's when they got the
end,
robot up above.
it was at the
So
best whenever the I can't think of his name, the captain, the X-wing
Captain
captain.
Captain Teva.
Yeah, Teva. And Zeb comes up to the bar and talks to him, and then it kind of ends that way.
Yeah.
So that's when people were like, "Where's Zeb? Why is he not in here?" So I think they kind of have thrown that in there to kind of placate some people, maybe, because I'm sure it's that CGI stuff is probably not easy to do and nor cheap with his character. So
Could be. It could be a whole costume thing too. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
So
I think they probably mentioned him because he's probably going to show up later.
well, that could be too. But I mean,
Mm,
people have been asking about it, so this was kind of their way to
Yeah,
maybe them for a little bit or a few episodes. So, but it could be foreshadowing that he's going to be coming up too. So who knows?
yeah, and they have his whole name in here too. It's Gara Zeb Aurelius, is his actual name. Um, he says he missed everything. Rin says they never thought they never find him, and complicated, and they talk about something else. So Rin tells Bridger that Tano took her on as an apprentice. Oh, what? Oh, you? What? Oh, congratulations. I mean, he says it
It's
makes sense because Rin had trained before, but he's confused because she doesn't have any force senses. Uh, Bridger asks whether Tano is coming or not, and Rin does not answer. So Bridger asks if it's complicated, and Wren nods. Meanwhile, Skoll and Hati and the gang of red armored bandits watch the caravan on the hilltop, all sitting astride howlers. And then we go back to the starship. The three red witches enter the rotunda, and Thrawn tells the Great Mothers that he needs their assistance again. He says Tano is hiding in the pergola graveyard, and Thrawn wants the three witches to find Tano. The Great Mothers unclasp their hands, and three floating orbs hover in a holographic tactical display. The orbs project red beams of light that connect them, forming a triangle over the hologram. And you see Elisabeth is chanting in the background as well, because it's a holy ceremony, I guess. It's a witch ceremony.
that kind of power thing.
On Tano's,
Triangulating the location.
yeah, I thought that was funny too.
GPS.
Where's the location? Oh, but that was the same triangle that went around uh Rin when she was in captivity too.
Well, it's multi-purpose. I mean, it's like a multi-tool. Like a
There
Leatherman
you go. There you go. There you
multiple.
go. On Tano's T6, Hanoi says that he can't find Rin. Tano says they don't need to scan. There's another way. Why didn't we use that to start with? There's another way. Hanoi asks Tano if she thinks their bond with Rin is strong enough. And Tano ignores Hanoi and calls out to Rin through the Force. Hello. Is Rin out there? Can I get Rin on the phone, please?
Knock knock. Knock knock.
Rin is chattering with Bridger, who talks about his relationship with the Noti, and suddenly Rin's focus drifts off. A sudden realization crosses Rin's face, and a faint smile brushes the corners of her mouth, and she quietly says Tano's name. Ahsoka, are you there? Are you a
She is,
ghost in my head?
But she didn't have a triangulating thing.
Elsewhere, the great mother Clothero smirks and says she has found Tano in the rotunda. Well, they're in the rotunda looking at the map and stuff. We found her, and the red beams converge into a T shape.
She's there. She's right there.
She's right there.
There.
We don't know how she's right there, but she's there.
Because they use the triangulator.
And the witchy force. They had the ceremonies and force and that stuff. The red beams, T-shaped cross points towards a location within the debris field. Thrawn calls Captain Inyok. Hey, buddy. And Thrawn says Inyok has the coordinates and tells the captain to open fire. Pew, 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 pew. Back at the caravan, Bridger sees Wren and asks what's happening. Wren answers she doesn't know exactly, but it was a very familiar feeling. I think she was there, but I don't believe it. So
I had a warm, fuzzy feeling for a moment.
That's her whole problem. She doesn't believe. It's just like Luke Skywalker. He doesn't believe.
Warm,
That's
fuzzy
your
feeling.
hope. You don't believe enough. You don't believe enough. That's your problem.
And then it passed. It must have been gas.
Yeah. It felt good, but now it stinks. On the T6, Tano remains lost in her distant stare. Suddenly, turbo lasers rain down on them. Pew, pew, pew. Hanoi is worried, but Tano calms him down and says she knows where they're going because she's pinpointed Tano through the force and the triangle and stuff everywhere. Then she pilots the T6 out of the ring of pergola remains and they race towards Perdea. They race. Thrawn compliments Inyok on a job well done and asks whether they should prepare their defenses. Thrawn answers that they don't need to because they're not the focus of the Jedi's attention. At least not yet.
Yeah.
Thrawn says Tano will pursue Wren, which they wisely sent away from there. And Thrawn tells Inyok to contact the fighter group and have them re-engage the opponent. And Inyok's hologram nods. And I think they mean that they're going to send out a different regimen onto the planet. It doesn't say that there, but I think that's when they're dispersing onto the planet. On the rolling plains of Perdea, Anodi spots two mounted figures in the distance. Bridger asks Wren if the two figures are friends of hers, which she confirms they are not. In the distance, Baylan Skoll tells his apprentice Shin Hati to contact Thrawn and orders her to kill Wren and Bridger. He tells her to take her place in the coming empire. When Hati asks if he's not going to be helping, Skoll tells her that her ambition drives her in one direction while he has a different path. Which we still have no idea what's going on there. I don't know. And he eventually fights Tano, but he doesn't die there either, so that's not his path. Hati transmits Wren and Bridger's location via comlink to Thrawn. Before they separate, Skoll gives a final lesson and says that impatience will lead to defeat. Impatience in battle will lead to defeat. I think that's what the actual quote was there. And the Red Clan bandits ride their howlers past the two to meet the Nodi caravan. After staring at her master momentarily, Hati rides after the bandits. She's like, what the hell are you thinking, man? You bring me all the way out here and you're not going to help?
Quitter.
Exactly. Do you really want to not kill anybody or what? What's going on with you? And Inyok informs Thrawn and Elisabeth of the location. And this is when Thrawn dispatches two gunships to assist the mercenaries, unaware of Skoll's true intentions. Thrawn tells Elisabeth if Lord Balin proves capable, they may win the day yet. In the hangar of the Chimaria, 2 squads of night troopers board the 2 Lat patrol gunships which fly towards the coordinates. And they call them night troopers, which they did in the previous episode too, but that's significant because those are night sisters, so they're possessed by the night sisters, something like that. That's what they're inferring there, basically, is basically they've found they've made zombies out of dead people and
Well, I don't remember if we talked about this last week, but somewhere I saw, because they were talking about all the armor has been wrapped in the red, like the robes or whatever of the mother, the queen mother, or whatever those sisters are called.
Yep. Red tape is what they said, but it makes more sense. It's red from the robes. Because she's basically keeping them alive, I guess, from the spells or whatever.
Yeah, and then something else that I saw somewhere was like that cargo that they were looting. One of the things is it wasn't, fallen troopers, like it was their crypts or capsules or something of like I don't know, like not like the body, but like that they put them in to heal or whatever, but like they were in
Yep.
hibernation or something. So
Yep, I think it's partly that, but I think it's also it's probably witches because it's definitely maybe fallen soldiers that are Thrawns, but I think part of it is witches too because if you remember, they said that this is the planet that the witches originated from before they came over to our galaxy via the Pergola. So I think whatever happened there, like maybe a plague or something, who knows, killed all the other witches, and these are the bodies of that too. Because we saw in the Clone Wars where the witches do fight and stuff. Kind of like soldiers and whatever. They have weapons and they use lightning and stuff like that, and whatever. Well, a little different than that, but yeah, I mean it's hocus pocus, kind of thing.
well, maybe that's
They
not
throw.
how, but he got it.
They,
He was trained with the witches.
well, yeah, I mean, Thrawn is the one who made the alliance with the witches, I think. Um, but I don't know. I mean, Palpatine could have been before. I take that back. So Palpatine is the one who requested an apprentice, which ended up being Darth Maul. So he had a relationship with him before. You're right. Because they created Darth Maul, and then his brother too was created too. His brother was actually alive, but they enhanced him somehow. He got bigger and muscles, and his horns got nastier looking and stuff. Anyway,
There's a comment I'm just gonna let pass.
yeah. Okay. So the Red Bandits pursue the Noti caravan. Wren exchanges fire with the bandits who scatter to avoid getting hit. Noti fires a stone with a slingshot, but the stone just bounces off the bandit's armor. When Wren asks if the Noti have any weapons, Bridger replies, "They're a peaceful people. Why else would I be hanging out with them? They're peaceful." Wren surmises that they are defenseless. She exchanges fire with pursuing bandits and manages to take several down. One of the bandits attempts to fling a spear at a Noti driver, but 2 caravans smash into him. Another bandit attempts to damage the repulsor lifts of the caravan, but the driver drives him away with stones. There was a guy, wasn't there a guy that had like a bzz, and he was electrocuting the ship?
Yeah.
And that one,
He was
that
like
was the
trying
one.
to shock it or something to like over, I don't know, create a fire or surge
Something
or
or
something.
other, yeah.
Yeah, with one of those long poles.
Yeah. Wren shoots another pursuer. One of the bandits manages to use his spear to damage a Noti caravan's repulsor lifts. There it is. It causes it to crash. Unwilling to leave the stranded Noti, Bridger decides to circle the stranded caravan. Bridgers command the caravans and circle and do the what the wagon circle.
Circle the wagons.
Exactly. The caravan encircles the stranded vehicle and stops, forming a ring. And he tells the Noti to take shelter while he handles the bandits. He says, "Don't worry, I'll take care of them. Get inside, just inside, and I'll take care of them. It's all right." And then suddenly, in the skies, Tano's T6 shuttle is pursued by three of Elisabeth's fighters, while Skoll watches from the distance. Bridger sights Hati's approach with the bandit leader on a howler. The remaining bandits and their howlers circle when Bridger asks, "Who is that human woman over there? Who's that woman with she looks like she's got old hair. What's going on?" And Wren says, "Hey, she's another force user and a lightsaber duelist without a sense of humor." Which she says she's basically like you, and yes, she does have a lightsaber, but she doesn't have any sense of humor. She's very serious. Wren and Bridger exit their caravan and tell the Noti to stay inside. Get back inside, I told you. Meanwhile, Tano resolves to land, but Hanoi reminds her that the Jedi protocol prevent landing while under attack. Hanoi exits the cockpit and joins the skirmish below by jumping down the ramp, which I don't understand why the steps had to collapse for her to do that, but whatever.
Down, she
slides,
and then when she hit the ground, she did like a double tuck roll and was up and hello. 8.5.
Look at me, I'm a force user. Hanoi tries to argue, but she overrules him, and Tano approaches the gangplank. She tells him to disengage the stairs, causing her to slide down. Looked to me like she slid down on purpose, but Tano lands safely without a scratch on the Perdia plains, while Hanoi leads the starfighters on a chase. Tano meets up with Skoll and says he says, "Hey, I didn't expect to see you. I thought you were dead."
Fancy meeting you here.
And that's when Tano says, "Well, I don't really have time for this." And he says, "I know, but I can't allow you to interfere." He draws his lightsaber, and Tano replies that she doesn't have time. And after a wait, Skoll charges, and they begin their battle. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Meanwhile, two bandits approach Bridger and Wren. When Wren hands him his former lightsaber, Bridger tells her that he doesn't need it, that he gave it to her, and it's hers. When Wren suggests he use a blaster, Bridger replies that he doesn't need that either, because the Force is his ally. I have the Force is my ally. When Wren disagrees, the two tussle with the bandits, while Bridger engages in physical combat. Wren fights with both her blaster and her combat skills. Tano fights Skoll with both of her lightsabers, and the battles are about pew 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 pew, stuff like that, right? Both are evenly matched, and Skoll says, "You'll never defeat me," something like that. The Noki knocks out one of the bandits with a rock. After tussling with a bandit, Bridger uses the Force to hurl one of the bandits across the caravan. Hati attacks him from behind with her lightsaber, and Bridger dodges her strike, but she managed to cut off a lock of his hair. You see his hair smoking and stuff. Bridger tells her it was close before engaging in physical combat. Wren fights. Yeah, he needs a haircut anyway. Wren fights with the bandits before impaling him with her lightsaber. She joins Bridger to fight Hati, who is now outnumbered. Not really, though.
Yeah.
However, Thrawn's gunships soon arrive when Bridger tells Bridger to take her down. Hati, however, manages to use the Force to hurl Bridger against the caravan, while Wren engages Hati in a lightsaber duel. Tano and Skoll continue their fight, and Skoll manages to gain an advantage and knocks Tano to the ground before he can strike. Oh, here comes Scott. He's just at the end. That's how exciting. Strikes her down. He flexes his blade with one of her lightsabers. After parring, Skoll tells her she can't beat him, that she does not have what it takes to win. Scott,
What?
you're an hour late.
I'm sick.
Oh, okay.
He has the Black Plague.
Exactly.
As long as there's no weird sounds, I think we're okay.
All right. Hanoi flies the T6 shuttle down and strafes the ground, causing Tano and Skoll to scatter. He shoots some sort of repulsor blast or something, not a real weapon. Hanoi leads the fighters away while Tano takes advantage of the smoke to escape. Skoll reflects in silence before continuing on his own quest. Which, what the hell is that quest? Come on! Elsewhere, Bridger reassures the Noti he is fine and tells them to take shelter. The two gunships land near the convoy and dispatch several armed night troopers. An Imperial drone circles above. Back at the fortress, Thrawn orders the two teams to use counter encirclement tandem, whatever that means. Though Elisabeth is confident of victory, Thrawn notices that Skoll is missing. What? Where's our mercenary?
He's our bad guy.
Where'd he go? Elsewhere, Wren and Bridger fight with Hati when Wren uses her flamethrower to drive off Hati as Bridger pulls her back at the same time. It's kind of a weird thing there. Hati orders the Imperials to destroy the fugitives, and Bridger offers diplomacy. Hey, can't we talk about this? This is a good time to talk, right? Let's talk.
Yeah,
But Hati orders the night troopers to shoot. Before they can, Tano rides in on Skoll's howler and saves the day. Oh, supposedly. A skirmish ensues with Hati and Tano and their lightsabers. Pew, 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 pew. Pew. Tano throws her to the ground with the Force. Watching from above, Hanoi remarks that his friends are back together and they hope they will survive this skirmish so he can witness their friendship or something weird like that. Wren fights. The gang's back together again. Wren fights several night troopers, taking down several with both physical combat and her blaster. Bridger also battles with the Imperials using his force powers and stolen blaster. Wren hurls a grenade at 3 night troopers, scattering them. Watching the battle grid, Thrawn speaks favorably of the combat skills of his Jedi opponents. He orders that the gunships be recalled and terminates the aerial pursuit. Of course, Elisabeth is like, what? But Thrawn explains that these are unfortunate but acceptable losses in the absence of Lord Ballyan. Thrawn thinks that in the grand scheme of things, this fight with Tano was a success. And then Elisabeth is like, what? She says she only sees their enemy being reunited and growing stronger. Thrawn reveals that the skirmish was a distraction from his plan to transfer the cargo from the Night Sister catacombs aboard the Chimeria. A distraction. While Thrawn says that they will soon be able to leave the Forsaken world once the cargo transfer is complete, he surmises that Tano has lost time and that time is on their side now, and they will keep it that way. As the Imperial drone circles away, the surviving Imperials retreat. The skirmish. Wren shoots retreating night troopers, but the others are aboard the gunships. And Tano appeals to Hati, asking her to surrender, offering to help her. And Hati gives a tense, pained look before fleeing away on her howler. She's like, what the hell, man? I don't like you. Wren wants to pursue her, but Tano motions for her not to. Tano is revealed to see Wren survived and embraces Bridger. The two laugh with joy. Oh, I'm so happy we're all together again. When Bridger asks Wren if she thought the Tano was dead, Wren quips, she was wrong. I guess I was wrong. I thought she was dead. That's why I got here in the first place, because I thought she was dead. Hanoi arrives, warm fuzzies all over. Hanoi arrives in the T6 shuttle and Bridger introduces Tano. Bridger introduces Tano to who? To Hanoi? I don't get it. I think it's the other way around. Tano introduces Bridger to Hanoi. I think so. The Nodi leader tells his people it's safe to come out. Come on out. We defeated them. Bridger speaks with Wren and Tano, telling them that he gets a feeling that he'll be coming home after all. Which, I mean, that's great, but
maybe.
I don't know. They don't have a way back still. They still don't have a way back. The friends in the Nodi watch Tano's T6 shuttle encircling above. And that's when the credits roll. And I have a little bit of feedback here, so I'm going to push the feedback button. This one right here. Feedback at KyleJohansson.us. That's feedback, KyleJohansson.us. All right. So this was on Blue Sky. You know, Scott thinks I have a licensed agreement with him or something. But this guy named his name is Extra Thoughts, and he replied to one of my mass postings about, hey, I need some feedback or whatever. And he said, I love the attention to different battle styles in this episode, especially he liked the minefield, and it was such a cool concept in space. He loved the force fighting style and felt more akin to the Jedi peaceful defense nature. Plus, it was cool seeing the intricacies of Ahsoka's early years with the recording, of Anakin. Also, Hanoi's personality really shone through in this episode, and enjoyed C-3PO getting the respect that he deserved. So yeah, that kind of covered all the highlights right there, didn't it?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good episode. It was kind of packed. I mean, it's almost got me thinking what's going to happen in the next episode, because it almost wrapped everything up in a way, sort of. We still need to escape the planet, which we don't have a way yet, unless we tag along with Thrawn. Yeah, they could just jump on the ship, like Scott just said. But I don't know, unless the pergola come back. But the minefield's still there, so what? Still away, huh?
Still away.
How? The only way is really the pergola. They could accidentally get their ship in the Ring of Sion at the same time Thrawn's is. That could work. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was one of the better parts of the show too, where Bridger was using the hand-to-hand combat, basically, or forced-to-hand combat in some spots. It was pretty cool to see that, because we always see the lightsabers and stuff. Yeah, that's cool and fancy, but let's see some real action fighting and stuff too.
He's in charge with he's in one with the force. If he can do the force fighting.
Yeah, the bring in the kung fu stunt guys so we can get some good fighting action going on, right?
Get this the wire spring lever thing thrown back.
Get Jackie Chan in there doing the direction and stuff. I only say that because I watched one of their movies the other night. I think it was the second one, the Rush Hour, whatever.
Star
Anyway, with that one guy, but
Stalker.
yeah, exactly. Not quite sure if he's funny or not. I haven't decided.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
He's just irritating.
Yeah. So, any insight on the episode, Scott? What did you think of it? Since you came in late and missed most of our discussion.
Excuse me.
Not saying that it was a bad thing. I'm just saying, do you have anything you want to bring up?
It's a good episode, but they're gonna have to double their efforts to make the last episode or the next episode better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll probably be one of those feel lucky episodes where everybody's like, "Oh, we're all back together."
Don't let me down now.
And the escaping is going to be a little side thing. Oh, let's figure out how we're going to get out of here now that we've all kissied each other.
Oh,
Yeah, but
ooh.
if we're gonna do a season 2, maybe they don't escape yet.
That's possible too. I was kind of thinking that from the beginning as the episode ends, the next episode ends when they're when Thrawn escapes. And I say that because uh the legend is that Thrawn goes back and basically decimates the New Republic, so that they have no defense against the New Order. He's the reason that the First Order takes over, is because the New Republic is vulnerable after he decimates them basically. Um, so I'm wondering if that's going to happen. If second season is going to be part of that, and them trying to get back, because once they get back, that's probably when they defeat Thrawn. Because no one else thinks like Thrawn except for those people because they know him from the past, right?
Well, they're not prepared for it.
Yeah. Well, they're not prepared at all. Um. Yeah, Scott, I was telling Rick about how the Night Sisters are going to be a big part too. I think
Oh yeah.
because they were pretty big in the Clone Wars stuff. I think they're going to be a kind of like what we were talking about last time. The cargo, are those dead stormtroopers? Are they dead Night Sisters? Are they both? What are they? Um, and I personally think they're. I think they're
Technology
both.
need.
Yeah, but what technology is that?
Those evil witches have something up their sleeve.
They certainly do.
They've got those little orbs. They're multi-tools.
But that's kind of weird too because the one orb is the one that had the map on it too.
Yeah, true. They're just like balls.
That's too funny.
Well, Lupergula, they're like whales. They migrate. So if they were migrating that way, they have to migrate back.
True.
That could be true, but we saw them in the episode. They light speeded out because they were getting bombed too much. We have to wait for him to come back. How do we contact him to get back? Come back. Hey, whale, come on back.
It's the Force.
Oh, the Force. There you go. Now we figured it out. We maybe that's how we see Wren actually use the Force. She finally figures out how to use the Force and call the Purgo.
See, I'll
Probably.
sit in a circle jerk and hold hands and go,
There
It
you go.
says like Dr. Doolittle.
and damn phone
Yeah.
booth.
He's the whale tamer.
They call him in. Hey, Dr. Doolittle. That would actually be funny.
Dr. Ezra.
Uh,
Ezra Bridger, please.
there you go. He is kind of more one with the force nowadays, isn't he? So we have several ways for you to send us the feedback like we got from Mr. Extra Thoughts on Blue Sky. You can email us feedback at kylejohansson.us. You can go to our website, which is always on the left-hand side. If you're watching us through the internet stuff. And there is a link there that says feedback, and it brings up a form. You can just basically type in whatever you want there. Send it to us. We're on Twitter at super_duper_pod. We're on Blue Sky at Rebel Alliance Briefing Room. And we're on YouTube. Videos are all up there of everything we've done. And there's comment section there. And this week, Google announced that they're getting rid of Google Podcasts, basically, but they're converting it all over to YouTube. So they're going to allow you to upload your podcast feed to YouTube so people can watch and listen through YouTube now instead of having a separate service. It's going to slowly happen, I think, in the next couple months when that'll happen. And if you go to YouTube Music right now, you can search and find us. Unfortunately, it only pulls up the videos, which maybe that's not unfortunate. I don't know. But it pulls up the videos and you can watch the videos and whatever episodes you
Hey,
want.
these are faces for radio. Come on, man.
That's right. Gotta get those faces for radio out there. But yeah, everything that we've got is out there. It's kind of weird right now because you search and it just brings up certain things. It doesn't bring up the entire catalog of stuff we have. You kind of have to dive deep in to get it. But I think they're probably going to fix that because you'll be able to. They're saying you'll have the ability to subscribe to a podcast, which you don't have right now on YouTube Music or YouTube Video. You have the ability to subscribe to a channel, which would have all the videos on it, but it could have videos of other stuff too. Anyway, so that's coming, and please send us everything you've got. Like Scott's keeps flipping sides here. What's happened? Rick's video went off, so Scott flipped up to the top of my screen instead of the bottom like he was. That means I'm gonna have to redo the video editing. Come on, Rick. Jeez.
I just checked a notification. Sorry, dude.
No, it's all right. I'm just kidding. So, anything else you guys got? Got any comments or predictions?
You know it's going to be a long time after next week with nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I heard that the Acolyte, which was supposed to be the next thing, they still hadn't written it all, so the writer's strike affected it. There's supposed to be more Visions, Star Wars Visions, the animated little shorts. Maybe we'll get that before Christmas. I don't know, but it'll be at least a month or so before we see something again. And if there is a big break because of the writer's strike or whatever, I might record some of the stuff we have in the past or we missed in the past. Like we've only got the Mandalorian seasons 2 and 3, I think. We don't have season 1 on here. Maybe it's season 2. What? There's more. 50. Yeah, so we might go back and rewatch some stuff and record those. Yeah, I only have season 3 of The Mandalorian on here. At least on video. Did we do them in audio, Scott? Do you remember?
Pretty sure we did. I don't know. Yeah, because we had to wait and then we came back.
There's the Bad
They were all
Batch.
Season 2, I thought you did for sure. I don't remember that one.
Well, we did a lot of the movies too for a while there too, Scott. We got
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yes,
Bad
and
Batch, Andor, Book of Boba Fett. So we started on the Book of Boba Fett, which was like season 2.5, wasn't it?
yeah.
We started podcasting on Book of Boba Fett. I don't know. We'll look at some of that stuff, and that way we have them on record, I guess. There is a couple other things like I think Visions season 1 is not, or season 2 is not done, which I might have that recorded already. I just have to cut it up and put it on video and stuff. If I didn't delete it. But anyway, we'll figure out something to do on the break. And like I said, if you guys are busy, I can do some of it too. Like I've done before on the Visions. I just went through and did the whole season at once and cut it up into different episodes after that.
Well, the visions are really short, right? Aren't those the ones that are like usually 10, 15 minutes?
Some of them are up to 30 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, they're pretty short. Um,
That's what
I'm
he
pretty
said.
I'm pretty sure I got a copy of season 2, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But
That's all right. It's just
just
gonna
stuff that we need to do.
it's gonna be pretty boring for 2023 and early 2024 with nothing going on. So, well, the
Yeah,
whole is kind of striking a chord.
that's what I've got recorded still. It's Tales of the Jedi, season 2. I don't have. Yeah, well, we're supposed to get Andor. Andor's already completed production. We're supposed to get Andor in 2024. And we're supposed to get a Bad Batch, supposedly, which is supposed to be the last season of the Bad Batch. That's what I heard. Uh, and I don't
So,
know.
so pondering that, do you think, we were talking earlier with the trilogy, do you think maybe there's going to be a tie-in with the Bad Batch and Ahsoka in one of those movies then?
It's
Is that
possible.
is that plausible to tie that in?
It is because in Rebels, they go into the future, not literally, but they, you know, let us see what happens in the future. And there's a couple episodes on it where I don't know. There's a group of clone troopers that are out in the middle of the desert somewhere in a ship with wheels on it, right, Scott?
yeah.
And it's got Captain Rex in there and a couple other guys that were I think one of the guys Echo was in there, and um maybe one of the other ones from the Bad Batch. I can't remember. It's been a while since we've seen that, but they Ahsoka and them meet them. Uh Ahsoka and I think Ezra and all of them meet them, right, Scott? Do you remember?
Yeah.
And so it's possible we could tie them in together. We know that Ahsoka knows the Bad Batch because the Bad Batch worked with Anakin a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the Clone Wars. That's where the Bad Batch came from, was from the Clone Wars, and Anakin using them for a couple battles. Uh, so I don't know. It's very possible we could see them or tie into I don't know, because we're from what Wren said, we're past Palpatine dying, which was Return of the Jedi. So it's kind of unwritten territory, really, where we're at, except for what we've seen in the Rebels.
It'd be cool if you could tie them all together, like Bad Batch and Ahsoka, and then Mando, and maybe even Boba. Tie it all together in one big thing. Throw a little Moff in there.
Have a Marvel superheroes get together.
There you go.
There you
with
go.
with 4 or 5 superheroes in one. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Justice League.
There you go. There you go. Yep, I can see that. I don't know. I'm just curious what's going to happen with this last episode. If we're all gonna have a cliffhanger, or if we're gonna actually see, Thrawn being defeated. I don't. I think it's too soon to defeat Thrawn because he has a lot of stuff to do.
Well, knowing that there's another season coming out, I mean, because that's kind of what I predicted a couple episodes ago. Now, knowing that there's another season, I don't see that happening. I see him leaving, possibly, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, Scott, I was telling Rick that I read that Filoni's already written season 2, so it wasn't affected by the writer's strike. So that could be something that if they need to fill in with something, it could be Ahsoka season 2. And he's also announced that he's going to do a trilogy movie series of some sort.
Which is already written.
Yeah, which is already written. So those are good too. Which supposedly all of the Mandalorians are written too. Because Favreau's writing those, and supposedly he's written all of them, or at least outlined all of them to that point.
So you got Filoni, you got Favre, all together looking to collaborating on a movie. Oh man, the possibilities are endless, dude.
Favreau. No, that would be interesting if they cross universes and we get Marvel in there and Star Wars in there at one time.
Well, you put George in there with Favre, and then Filoni. I mean, look, this is like a blockbuster coming now. They might as well just polish those Oscars up and hand them over because they're going to be ready to be given out.
Something needs to get everybody back to the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about going back to the theater, but maybe it could be potentially.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's going back to the theater like they used to.
I don't either.
But yeah, so I mean, George Lucas has been involved partially in these shows. He one of his things was he didn't like the idea of Grogu. He didn't think they should do that at all. But eventually he relented. So I think the way it's working with these shows and what I keep hearing is George Lucas is the final, vote on everything. So if they come up with an idea and George Lucas doesn't like it, then they don't do it. Sometimes, but
Yeah.
and I can understand that because it is his thing. But
That's a whole other avenue right there. Is going down the road of who is Grogu and what is Grogu and why is Grogu important? His species. He might be the key to the whole thing.
He made them a whole lot of money in merch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his species probably is, but we're supposed to assume that he's a clone of maybe Yoda or something. Some other. They got a hold of some other species like maybe Yaddle or whatever that was in the Clone Wars too. Yaddle was a Yoda species too. Kind of like they got a hold of Luke Skywalker's DNA, and they got a hold of Darth Vader's DNA and stuff like that.
The
Due to
M23 got them all, didn't it?
getting their arms cut off or something like that.
Ancestry.com.
Was
Yeah.
I hallucinating, or did y'all hear Darth Vader breathing in that show?
I heard it the second time I watched it. It was with the Night Sisters and stuff like that, but it didn't make sense why it was there.
Why is it there? Yeah,
It could have just been the ship breathing out too. I don't know, but it sure sounded like Darth Vader's
it sounded like Darth Vader.
apparatus.
Yeah, but so maybe that's the foundation for the First Order and Kylo Ren. Because Kylo
Well,
has dark mask.
yeah, and I've always had the theory. So, we know from the Bad Batch and the Clone Wars that Thrawn. No, he wasn't really in the in the Clone Wars. He was only in Bad Batch and the Rebels. That he was experimenting with cloning too. He kind of took over the cloning project. That's how Moff Gideon got involved in the cloning stuff. And I wonder if on his ship is where Snoke is. He's still in a chamber or whatever, in a back to chamber or whatever. But that's where Snoke comes from. I don't know. I mean, we don't know where Snoke really comes from per se, except for in the end of the Last Jedi or whatever, we see those tubes, and there's multiple tubes that look like Snoke and the Emperor and all that stuff too.
He's bringing onto his ship from the sisters' tower. Maybe that's the cargo.
Or it could be their technology that's for cloning, that they finally cracked the cloning too. Who knows? But yeah, because we gotta. That's where Snoke has to come about, because he is the ruling person during the First Order, except for what's his name that thinks he's the ruler. Not the captain guy with the red hair. What's his name? I say that I'm looking for him on my wall here. I have got him here somewhere. It doesn't matter.
His character.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's the one that does the Hitler speech at the when he's overlooking everybody.
Yeah, I can't think what his name is either. I would search, but that would mean that I would be dropping down and Scott would come on, so then that would mess you up.
No, it's fine. I was just teasing you, but
I know.
it's fine. It doesn't matter that much, but
Kai? Colonel Kai? Is that right?
No.
The K, doesn't it?
No, like Kylo Ren is the Force guy, but his name is different. It's God. He's got the gray stuff on like Finn did in one of the movies. Anyway, he's the one that also thinks he's in charge, but Kylo Ren is supposedly really in charge because of Snoke. So
Just a puppet.
who is being melded by the Emperor himself.
There you go.
These things are driving me nuts. Got these little light things. No, it's not working. It's a little LED light thing that's wireless, basically battery operated, and I've had them for a short time, and they're not stopped working.
Bright light, gremlin, bright light.
Anyway, let me get us out of here then.
Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansson.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansson.us.
Let's do it, Scout.
In no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott, and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers.
Some are
Views
owned by
and
Rick.
opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or any or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited.
Prohibited.
I am Kyle Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say
And
goodbye
Rick.
now.
And Rick, too. Say goodbye, everybody.
And Rick, too.
And
Goodbye
Rick,
now.
too. Let's,